Misfits, before we jump into today's episode, I want to share something very special with you. After hosting over 450 episodes of the Misfit Entrepreneur and sitting down with some of the world's top founders, investors, and high performers, I started to notice something. Different industries, different backgrounds, different paths, but the same patterns kept showing up. So I distilled those patterns into a short, powerful guide called The Misfit Code: 21 Uncomfortable Truths from 450 plus entrepreneurs. This isn't motivational fluff, it's not theory, and it's definitely not the recycled advice that you hear everywhere else. In fact, it's a fast paced, practical playbook that you can read in one sitting and then apply immediately to help you execute better, raise your standards, break through to your next level. And if you know you're capable of more, or you feel like you've outgrown where you are, or if you're tired of knowing what to do but not executing consistently, this guide was created for you. You can download it for free right now by going to misfitentrepreneur.com/truths. That's misfitentrepreneur.com/truths. Grab the guide, read it in one sitting, and then come back and work through one misfit truth per day. All right, with that said, let's jump into today's episode. Hello, Misfit Entrepreneurs. This is Dave Lukas, and welcome to a special solo episode of the Misfit Entrepreneur. I love these episodes because I get to share the best concepts and thought leadership that I can find to help you in your entrepreneur journey. As a reminder, if you're new to watching us on our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button below. Give this video a like and comment as well. We do our best to respond to all comments as timely as possible. All right, so let's jump in to today's episode. I came across a 2,300-year-old idea that I really haven't been able to stop thinking about. And the more that I sit with it, the more I realize this concept alone can determine whether you live in peace or constant tension, whether you build powerful relationships or quietly burn bridges, whether you lead at a high level or you react more at a low one. And the concept is called the empty boat theory. And if you truly understand it and apply it, it will change how you operate as an entrepreneur and as a human being. So the story goes like this. A Chinese sage named Zhuangzi wrote about it over 2,000 years ago. Imagine that you're crossing a river in a small boat and another boat crashes into you. You immediately explode in anger. What is wrong with this idiot, right? But when you look closer, the boat is empty. No one is steering it. No one is there. Your anger instantly feels foolish. Now here's the brutal insight. The impact is the same. The collision still happened, but your interpretation changes everything. And Zheng Zui's point was simple and powerful. We suffer more from the story in our head than from the event itself. So why does this matter for entrepreneurs? As entrepreneurs, we're meaning-making machines, right? Someone doesn't respond to your email, a prospect ghosts you, an employee pushes back, a partner doesn't follow through, an investor says no. And what happens? Our brains, they assign intent. They don't respect me. They don't value this. They're trying to undermine me. They don't believe in what we're building, right? Most boats, though, are empty. People are busy. They're overwhelmed. They're fighting battles that you can't see. They're thinking about their own river, not yours. Yet we personalize everything. And when we personalize everything, we bleed energy. So here's the interesting part. High performers often assume meaning everywhere. Michael Jordan turned his Hall of Fame speech into a revenge list. Elon Musk fires off tweets at 2 a.m. at critics. Greatness is often fueled by perceived slights. Every look becomes a signal. Every comment becomes a motive, and every no becomes a challenge. And that edge can drive performance, but it also can create torment because your nervous system hates uncertainty. So it fills the gap with the story. And historically, that was useful. Think a rustle in the grass way back in time wasn't a maybe, it was a tiger, right? So we kind of still run on that ancient software, but in modern entrepreneurship, that software can sabotage us. And so the real truth is that most harm isn't personal, it's projection. Two worlds collide, right? Two storms intersect. And you assume it was about you, but often it wasn't. Think about the last time you overreacted. The frustration, potential spiral, the silent resentment. Was the boat actually steered at you? Or did you assign a captain where none existed? And here's where this gets dangerous. Entrepreneurs operate in uncertainty all day long, right? Uncertainty about revenue, about hiring, uncertainty about partnerships, uncertainty about market shifts, all kinds of things, right? And when uncertainty is high, your brain increases this story making. And most of those stories skew negative. So you start interpret as threats. And when leaders do that, culture can deteriorate, trust can erode, relationships can strain, decisions become emotional instead of strategic. You relive minor slights, in some cases, in some people's aspects, for years over really boats that were empty from the start. So in the end, really, this isn't about being weak. This isn't about letting people walk all over you. This is, though, about clarity, reality before adding meaning. Pain is inevitable, but personalization is optional. And that gap, the space between event and interpretation, is where emotional freedom lives. That space is where leadership lives, and great leadership lives. Here's the humbling part, though. The world sees you as a boat, too. Your short email, your late reply, your distracted tone in a meeting. Someone else may be building a villain story about you right now. We are all accidental boats in each other's rivers floating down the street, bumping, drifting, colliding, rarely intending harm, constantly misread. And that perspective alone should soften you. If you want to operate at a high level, here's the discipline. Pause before you react. Pause before you fire off that email. Pause before you assign intent. Pause. Ask one question. Is this boat empty? The question alone can save you years of bitterness. It can save partnerships. It can save marriages. It can save culture inside your company, because emotional mastery isn't control. It's awareness. It's catching the story mid-creation before it becomes identity, before it becomes this always happens to me or people always disrespect me. I can't trust anyone. That's how narratives become self-fulfilling. In fact, it reminds me of a story of Abraham Lincoln in the midst of the Civil War, when really it was at its bleakest for the North. He had a general that ultimately messed up really bad, pretty much came close to losing the war. And he wrote this scathing letter to this general, just excoriating this person. And he never sent it. He left it in his desk. And that general ended up being the one that actually ultimately won the war, or had the biggest impact in winning the war. If he had sent that letter, right, if he had bumped into that boat and just had blown up at it, that guy may have quit. He may have had a different change of heart on the battlefield that caused him not to be as invested. A lot of things could have happened and would have kept him from fulfilling the ultimate destiny, which was helping to win that war. And so that's why we have to be careful not to let these narratives become fulfilling in our lives. So kind of my mantra around this, right? I've kind of started practicing over the years. I used to call it stop, ask, and choose, but it's really pause, observe, reframe, and then release, right? Pause. Don't react instantly. Observe what actually happened versus the story that I'm already creating, right? Reframe. What's a neutral or more generous explanation? And then release. Don't carry what doesn't need to be carried. Give people the benefit of the doubt. I always assume that there's nothing wrong, that there's no problem, right? Unless somebody tells me that. And that's a good way to go on leadership, because a lot of times leaders they can come from a couple directions. And one direction that, leaders that get themselves in trouble come from is that everybody's always doing everything wrong. And you're looking for what is being done wrong instead of looking for what's being done right or focusing on that, right? Basically assuming before the boat even bumps into you that that boat is already a negative, right? So pause, observe, reframe, and release. Simple words, difficult to practice. But this is how you kind of step out of that needless suffering, right? One empty boat at a time. And so here's my challenge to you for this week and ongoing. When something triggers you, picture the river, picture the boat, look inside before you react. You may find no enemy, only space, and the opportunity to lead from strength instead of ego. The strongest entrepreneurs aren't always the loudest. They're the ones who question their first interpretation, they're calm in collision, They don't confuse impact with intent. And because of that, they conserve energy, they build trust, they think clearly, they move faster, and they win longer. So if this episode resonated with you, share it with another entrepreneur who needs to hear it. Remember, success isn't just about strategy, it's about emotional mastery. We're all boats in the river. Let's try not to find ghosts. So see you in our next Misfit Entrepreneur with another guest and another great set of concepts, topics, tips, tricks, habits, and things to help you as an entrepreneur. We'll see you then.